Seneca asserts, "From failure to glory, every fall is an opportunity to emerge stronger." In the pursuit of success, every mistake can become a valuable lesson. Far from being insurmountable obstacles, these moments of failure can be the foundations upon which to build the path to glory. Through 7 essential lessons, we will explore the journey from failure to fame, discovering how each challenge can be transformed into an opportunity for growth and success. If you are not yet subscribed to our channel, do so to not miss any of our upcoming videos. Meet a passionate young artist named Alexandre. Endowed with overflowing creativity, Alexandre dreamt of turning his passion into a flourishing career. However, his path was strewn with obstacles and apparent failures. The first test came when a local art gallery refused to exhibit his works. Rejected, Alexandre could have given up, but he chose to see this setback as an opportunity to explore new styles and perfect his technique. He learned the importance of perseverance and adaptability. His second challenge arose when his most ambitious artistic project faced harsh criticism. Instead of being discouraged, Alexandre took the time to analyze the feedback, adjusting his work based on constructive comments. He discovered the importance of humility and continuous improvement. When a collaboration with a renowned artist failed, Alexandre could have abandoned his dream. Instead, he used this experience to cultivate his resilience, understanding that partnerships can sometimes fail, but that it doesn't mean the end of his artistic journey. Every obstacle became a lesson. Every failure an opportunity for growth. Alexandre channeled his energy into creation, embracing the idea that failure was a temporary companion on the path to artistic glory. Finally, after years of determination, Alexandre was invited to exhibit his works in a renowned gallery. His paintings, infused with lessons learned from past failures, captivated critics and visitors. What could have been perceived as mistakes became the backdrop on which he painted his success. Alexandre's story. Every trial can be a crucial chapter in the narrative of success. Every failure, every detour became an integral part of his journey, ultimately transforming his artistic dreams into a brilliant reality. Just as for you, your failures should be the lever of your determination to succeed, not to give up, and to persevere. The path to success is strewn with obstacles, and it is up to us to transform them to achieve our professional, family, and social goals. 1. Accept failure as a teacher. Standing before the closed door of the gallery, Alexandre held his artistic portfolio, filled with hope and anticipation. However, the negative response he received could have been discouraging. Instead, he decided to accept this failure as an unexpected teacher. With rare insight, Alexandre began to revisit his works, not with frustration but with curiosity. He sought to understand what had not worked, to identify nuances in his artistic style that could be improved. Each rejected canvas became an opportunity for self-reflection, allowing Alexandre to surpass preconceived limits of his creativity. This is how he embraced the idea that failure was not an absolute rejection, but rather an invitation to grow. He challenged himself to explore new techniques, experiment with different styles, and ultimately discovered aspects of his art that he would never have explored without this initial setback. 2. Analyze root causes. When Alexandre's ambitious artistic project faced severe criticism, it would have been easy to withdraw. Instead, he chose to delve into the heart of the criticism, seeking not only to understand reactions but also to analyze the root causes of this so-called failure. Alexandre undertook a meticulous evaluation of his work, soliciting specific and constructive feedback. He engaged in open discussions with experienced art critics, eager to understand what had not resonated with them. This thorough analysis allowed him to surpass subjective opinions and grasp the fundamental aspects of his work that needed improvement. By recognizing that criticisms were not just judgments but potential indications of artistic shortcomings, Alexandre transformed negative feedback into an action plan. He learned to distinguish between personal perception and objective weaknesses, thereby strengthening his ability to interpret public reactions. Cultivate resilience. Every harsh critique and every collaboration rejection became opportunities to strengthen his mental and emotional resilience. Instead of succumbing to discouragement, Alexandre embraced these moments as challenges to overcome. Each trial became an opportunity for toughening, a way to develop an artistic shell capable of withstanding the storms of external judgment. To cultivate resilience, Alexandre learned to reframe failures as necessary steps toward success. He understood that every challenge overcome contributed to forging his determination and ability to bounce back. It was a continuous process, a dance between creativity and perseverance. He no longer saw obstacles as insurmountable barriers, but as springboards to personal and artistic growth. His ability to face adversity became an integral part of his artistic identity, transforming every failure into an opportunity to strengthen and progress on the winding path to glory. 4. Turn mistakes into opportunity. Alexandre's failures became the cornerstones of his artistic transformation. Instead of perceiving them as hindrances, he considered them as precious opportunities for learning and growth. Each mistake was an invitation to reinvent himself, to rethink his artistic vision, and to discover unexplored facets of his talent. When a technique didn't work as expected or an idea didn't materialize, Alexandre did not let frustration overwhelm him. Instead, he used those moments as springboards for experimentation. Every failure became a source of inspiration, prompting him to explore new styles, play with different mediums, and push the limits of his creativity. By turning mistakes, Alexandre embraced a growth mindset. Every challenge was a blank canvas on which he could paint new possibilities. This perspective allowed him to remain open to changes, grasp the hidden lessons behind every misstep, and evolve as an artist. Eventually, these mistakes transformed into opportunities became Alexandre's distinctive signature. His work reflected not only his raw talent, but also the wisdom gained through each iteration, each adjustment. 5. Avoid complacency. Every time a project was well received, Alexandre resisted the temptation to settle into the comfort zone. He avoided complacency by constantly asking himself, "What can I improve?" This perpetual self-questioning became a driving force, preventing artistic stagnation. Since complacency often accompanies self-satisfaction, Alexandre engaged in a continuous quest for improvement. He actively sought constructive criticism, surrounded himself with talented peers, and immersed himself in projects that challenged him. Every challenge was a means to guard against complacency, maintaining a dynamic of permanent growth. Every success was not just a celebration, but also an opportunity for renewal, an effort to push the boundaries of his art. This refusal to settle for momentary satisfaction became a crucial key to transcending artistic plateaus and constantly rising towards new creative heights. 6. Cultivate humility. Faced with trials and budding successes, Alexandre understood that the key to his artistic growth lay in cultivating humility. He recognized that each work, each creation, was an integral part of a continuous learning process, and artistic mastery was an endless quest. This humble attitude allowed him to develop fruitful relationships with other artists, exchanging ideas and perspectives without pretension. Humility also enabled Alexandre to navigate through setbacks gracefully. Instead of taking failures as personal affronts, he viewed them as necessary steps toward artistic maturity. The ability to acknowledge that even the most accomplished artists have areas to improve became a constant source of inspiration. By cultivating humility, Alexandre created an environment conducive to mutual learning. Collaborations became fertile grounds where ideas could flourish, and mistakes were no longer affronts but invitations to grow. 7. Learn to adapt. Aware that the artistic world is constantly evolving, Alexandre embraced the necessity of learning to adapt. Every failure, every necessary adjustment, became an invitation to develop artistic flexibility, to be ready to change course when necessary. Faced with changes in artistic trends and new influences, Alexandre avoided rigidity. He learned to consider each modification of his work as an opportunity for exploration. Adaptability became an indispensable tool to stay relevant in a constantly changing artistic landscape. When projects did not unfold as planned, instead of stubbornly clinging to his initial plan, Alexandre learned to adjust. He understood that adaptability often equated to innovation. By integrating new ideas and embracing different approaches, he managed to broaden his artistic range. Learning to adapt also meant understanding that lessons from mistakes could guide constructive change. Alexandre developed the ability to pivot, to transform obstacles into creative opportunities, creating a continuous learning loop. Ultimately, learning to adapt became an essential artistic skill. It was the key to staying in sync with a dynamic artistic world and evolving constantly. This artistic flexibility allowed Alexandre not only to survive changes but to thrive, transforming challenges into moments of exploration and adaptation, thereby consolidating his journey toward artistic glory. Thank you for joining me on this enriching journey once again. I eagerly anticipate sharing more inspiring content with you in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and enable the notification bell to stay connected.